Welcome, guys, once again to another review and recap of the Braxtons. I'm sorry that we are kind of late on this episode, but we just have to do it. Now, if you're not subscribed, please make sure you click on the subscribe button, guys, down below, like and comment your thought and opinion about what we're going to say on this video. So, we're talking about the episode 5 of the Braxtons. And I know we did not cover last week's episode, but last week's episode highlight was mostly about the fight between the sisters. And let's briefly, I don't know whether you watched the episode. Did you watch the episode?
Yes, I did.
Okay, let's just briefly talk about the highlights since we didn't talk about it last week. Let's briefly talk about the highlight, and that was the fight. And what went on, the dragging of the hairs. Who did you think went overboard? Who did you think did too much? Who did you think escalated it
You know, I
amongst them?
I honestly think that Tamar went way overboard.
Uh-huh.
These are your loving older sisters. No way in
Yeah,
the world I would treat my older sisters like that. You know what I'm saying? If I got a problem, I'm
yeah.
gonna leave. I'm just gonna leave. I'm not gonna put my hands on them. I'm not gonna throw things at them. I'm just not gonna do that. That's not within my character. I think she went too far. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was cute, and it
Uh-huh.
made her look different in my eyes. I'm not
Mm.
trying to bash her or anything, but it just, with all the things that Tamar has been through, that it just kind of looked like a kid that was acting out. You know what I'm saying? A spoiled brat acting
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
And how
Um,
did you feel about it?
you said?
How did you feel about it?
For me, yes, I know it's like um somebody just lit a fire. And Tamar was the one that lit the fire. I know the last time we talked about it, when at the last episode we talked about the show was when the beginning of the fight, when she said something about Tawanda's like pain, Tawanda's like how paying for
Mortgage.
Tawanda's mortgage and the rest.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like that is not something as a sister I would do. I don't think I would
Right.
want to be reminding my sister, oh, I did this for you. That alone is enough to emotionally break someone down. That alone is enough to like make things go overboard for you, and you will not know when you start acting out. Then I also felt like, okay, fine, she has said this about Towanda then started acting out, which is understandable. Then started talking about Tamar taking Tony's boyfriends, which I know that, okay, yes, she's reacting to she's reacting to the level that Tamar has taken the situation to.
Right.
And the thing is that I always say you can never predict somebody's reaction to what your actions are. The only thing you can predict is what you can do. You can only predict your own actions. You cannot predict how the next person will react to the actions you put out. Now, Towanda going that far as talking about Tamar being a bad person, taking people's boyfriends, that is the reaction from her saying or exposing the fact that she helped her with money, right?
Right.
That is the reaction. And also that is also wrong. But it's still like, I'm hot. I also want to hurt you. Is that kind of situation. Then
Right.
it also riled Toni up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Toni too got pissed off and was like, before the fighters ensued. We saw what's her name? Oh my god. Tracy. Tracy was trying to come in between them. Tracy was trying to not
Trina.
let the matter escalate,
Yeah,
trying
Trina.
to like, I don't want physical fight. And we then saw Tamar dragging her hair,
Right.
right? So I
Mm-hmm.
just felt like Tamar went too far, like you said. Tamar went too far. But as much as I say Tamar went too far, I felt like there should have been one person that would have said, we are going overboard. as sisters. I don't think they have that one person. Maybe because of what's the other one that died? What's her name? I always forget her
Tracy.
name.
Tracy.
Tracy. Maybe because she's no longer alive. I think like she was that person that would let them know that, yeah, you guys are doing too much.
Right.
So I just feel like it went like I was just like the six, like I have never been in a situation where me and my siblings would sit down together, then all of us are fighting.
Yeah.
I've never been in that scenario before. And the fact is that I'm not saying that we've not had fight as siblings. We have had fight as siblings.
Oh yeah.
But it's always like, okay, one person over the one person. It's never been like everybody is trying to chime in, everybody is trying to make noise, everybody is trying to um be loud. No, it's never gotten to that extent. At least if people are fighting, there is one person that is a sound of reasoning being like, hey, you guys are doing too much. Like it's not to that extent. It hasn't gotten to that extent. And I don't think they had that. And I was disappointed in that fight that as sisters, your brain could not for 1 minute being like, yeah, we are sisters. This is stupid.
Right.
Like they could not do that for themselves. And I think it stems from the fact that every one of them has a level of pride. Every one of them has a level of pride. And before we go ahead and talk about this latest episode, let's talk about the fact that after Tamar left, right? We
Hmm.
saw Towanda saying, Toni, does she want to call the police? How did you feel about that? Towanda trying to push Toni to call the police on Tamar.
Yeah, that really wasn't necessary. I mean, pulling of hair slash wig or weave, whatever it is, that
Yes.
and throwing dousing a cup of water, um, and a kick. That's not necessary. I didn't feel that it would have been necessary. I think it would have created more problems than it would have um alleviated.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly. When she said that, I was like, I'm even saying that the situation is bad, and you are still insinuating that another of your sister to call the police. It's not like she murdered one of you or your family member or something, or she killed or she did something so heinous. I'll be like, okay, yeah, she need to call the cops. You guys just had a fight,
right, as
and you were going
most
as
do.
yeah,
No, I was saying as most siblings do.
yeah. I was disappointed in Towanda. That's why I said I think every one of them has a level of pride. Thankfully, Toni was like, no, no, it hasn't gotten to that extent. But I did not like the fact that Towanda was pushing so much for the police to be called, for the cops to be called on Tamar. That I understand you are pained. I understand you're pained. Your sister is airing your dirty laundry that you don't want to be aired out. But I don't think it has still gotten to the extent where you'll be pushing another sister to call the cops on your. At the end of the day, whether you guys fight or not, you guys are still sisters. It's not gonna change.
True.
It's not changing anytime, any day. It's gonna be there forever. So I didn't like that, that part at all. I don't know. I didn't know what was her plan, but anyways, that didn't make sense. But I was happy for Towanda that she was getting her wedding preparation this episode. We saw her do a shower, a bridal shower, and we saw Trina and Tamar didn't make it. I know Tamar was not going to make it after that big fight, but Tina had Toni. Sorry, I said Tina. Toni had events. She had a talk, and she could not make it. That was understandable. Um, but I was happy that at least Tina was there and they had fun in a way. And like I said in that now previous episode, I feel like Tina and Towanda has this special bond. And I think sometimes they like that's what helps them going, you know.
Right.
It helps them going. And I also love the fact that she finally was able to open up to Towanda and the mom about the sickness, the heart stuff of one. At least because those kind of things, I don't like when people bottle up their pain, you know. So I
Mm-hmm.
was happy that she was able to kind of, you know, say it out and let it out so that people can, you know, rally towards her. You don't have to care about other people's feelings, you know. People can also care about your feelings. So I was also glad in this episode that um she told them. One other thing that also I loved in this episode, the way Toni brought up Trina up on her concert, I was like, I was shocked because she only came to support, right?
Right.
And she brought her up. That is what shows sisters. Like that's why I say at the end of the day, you are sisters,
Right.
right? You are sisters. She brought her up to, you know, for them to remember Angie Stone. So that was really nice. I was so shocked. I was really shocked that Toni brought her up. But at that moment, I was like, yeah, this is what sisters is all about. We fight, we quarrel, we have arguments, but still, I know that if I have problems with my sisters, I'll still want to talk to first.
Right.
I'm not gonna be going outside first. I would first talk to my sisters before I start talking to anybody. I'll first talk to my brother before I start talking to anybody. So at the end of the day, that is what family is all about. And I just hope that um these girls, the Braxton's family can literally like overcome their pride within each and every one of them to um let it go. But you know, so much didn't happen in this episode. So let's just go straight to the main point of this episode was when Towanda, Trina, and Toni went to dinner. Then Tamar was with her friend, and they were
Mm-hmm.
talking about the situation of the family and the fight that happened in the previous episode. Tamar was giving her own point of view. Toni, Towanda, and Trina were giving their own point of view. Now, listening to the two points of views and listening to what they had to say, and we saw Tamar break down being like, she's trying, but she knows her sisters hate her. Um, and she's just like she's tired. And which is understandable because sometimes when you try and try and try and it's not making headways, you get tired of trying. Now, she said she has tried and she's trying, but she's tired at this moment. She just feels like at this moment she wants to love them from afar. But the way she gave her account of the fight was kind of different. And I think she was trying to minimize her issues or her fault in the fight.
Right.
Um, but also listening to Tina, Trina, and Toni talking about the fact that the fight stems from the lawyer stuff, and they still saying that they did not know what the cease and desist was about. Do you believe that they do not know about it, or they are just fringing ignorance? And how did you see that whole scenario between the two sets talking about the whole thing and their relationship?
Well, as far as the cease and the desist,
Yeah,
somebody had to know about it. I mean, the lawyers aren't going to just go on their
exactly.
own and, start filing paperwork. I mean, I've never met a lawyer that would do something like that, you know, um, without somebody assigning them or giving them the permission to do that. So for me, that was just a little bit hard to kind of get with, because I'm like, somebody had to know something about something. So Yeah, I think it's a little bit more to it. I don't know who actually, um, you know, hired the attorney to do this work, but I still, all in all, I still think that, none of this really should have happened. It did, and I just kind of feel bad for Toni, because it just seems like she kind of got the bad end of the stick to me,
Mm,
meaning um, I just felt that, it could have been done with a little bit more tact.
mm. And there was one part for me was when they were talking about the fact that Tawanda's wedding, and Tawanda was like, "No, Tamar is not going to come." Do you feel like she was trying to say that I'm not going to invite Tamar, or she was saying, insinuating that she feels like Tamar would not want to come because of the situation between them as sisters?
Well, I think it was basically because Tamar, she doesn't know what to expect from Tamar. I mean, if it's my wedding day, I don't need you there acting a total a-hole. I just don't, you know. Because I don't need nobody. You put in too much money, first off, for weddings, you know. And I just think that she wants her sister there, but she just doesn't want everything that might go with it.
Mm.
If that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah, I do understand. Of course, but I don't think Tamar would be that. I don't know the language I will say. I don't think she'll be that dumb enough to come to somebody's wedding and cause a scene.
Well,
I don't think.
to me, it just seems like Tamar needs the she needs to have confusion. To me, it just seems like she kind of likes that rah rah. You know what I'm saying? It's I don't know what's going on with her, but it just seems like she likes the static. She wants the smoke.
Mm,
You know, because you know why I say that? Because if it was any other chick that Tamar came across like that, like, would she really? You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Would she really act like that? Would she be all up in somebody's face like that? The look. I'm not saying I'm the toughest thing around, but you just can't do that kind of stuff to people, you know. And if you do, you I guess you test who's gonna be closest to you, who's gonna love you, who's not gonna want to harm you. Because the average
mm,
chick, you do that, you slinging water and you pulling hair and you're kicking. Oh no! See, I'm gonna lay you flat. I'm gonna lay you flat. I'm gonna go outside, smoke a cigarette, and wait for the cops to come. You know what I'm saying? Cause see, I don't need you coming to my door with a warrant. I'm gonna sit there and wait. You just
mm.
can't put your hands on people. Now,
Yeah.
and maybe she felt like she could get away with that behavior with her sisters because they love her. She's the baby girl, you know. But the
Mm,
average chick, nah, you not gonna do that. You
yeah.
know, Tamar ain't built like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it was like a bully move.
Mm,
Tamar may be a little bit tougher than them. You know what I'm saying? But it was still a bully move.
mm. So uh, now, they also talked about the fact that where are they going to go from here? They were also talking about whether they should have a conversation as sisters, where we had Towanda being like, she's done with it, she's over it, she's not interested. Do you feel that that is supposed to be the right approach? Because Toni was like, maybe we should call Tamar to come over, maybe we should hang out and talk as sisters. And Towanda was like, she's done with it, she's done that. Before it was emotional, now it has gone into physical. But she wasn't really physical with Towanda, except for the pouring of water on her. The person who was really physical with was Tina. And did you feel like Towanda just has this special dislike for uh Tamar? Because the way she responded, being like, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to revisit anything. I don't want to try and mend anything. I'm good at where I am. Do you think that that's the right approach, or do you think it's coming from a place of hurt or the pain? Because truthfully, if my sister comes and diminish me or demean me in front of people, I don't think I'll forgive you that easily. So do you think it's coming from a place of hurt that she was embarrassed by that statement that Tema made, and that's why she's been like, you know what, I don't want to, sit down with her. I don't want to reconcile anything. I'm good where I am.
No, I don't think that it was done out of avoidance.
Mm.
I believe that it was done out of pain. Like, look, I wouldn't expect my siblings to act like a total ass. I just wouldn't. You know,
Yeah.
I feel that, like I said, Tamar just took it a little bit too far. You know, like she's about that life, and honestly, Tamar probably ain't never been in a fight in her life. This is what I'm thinking. She's
Yeah.
never been in a real street fight in her life. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so I think Tawana's stance was like she's unpredictable. She's unhinged at this point. I look. I wouldn't want you around. If I'm giving something and I'm spending my money on it, and I'm gonna take a chance on inviting you, thinking maybe, oh, you're gonna act right, or maybe you're not gonna act right. What if you don't act right? Okay, then I got this big old fiasco going on with you, you know, and then my guests are watching all this as us as a family come apart. No, I wouldn't want that. So I think Tawana is doing the right thing. I think it was up to Tamar to take a day or two and overthink and think about the situation. Come to her sister, say, hey, can we meet? Can we talk without the cameras? You know what I'm saying? Or with the cameras, you know. But I think Tamar was totally in the wrong. Tamar is the one who needs to apologize. You know, I mean, Tamar has all these businesses, right? Plus, she has all this money coming in, so for her to say, well, you guys are closing down my businesses, and, basically she's saying, we can't eat because, you guys are doing this sis and deceased thing, you know, uh, hey, take a little time. You got money stacked up and saved. You know what I'm saying? And probably money coming through other channels. Talk to your sisters. Don't go there rah rah ready to drag people and tear up each wall. You know what I'm saying? To me, it was just crazy. I'd never, from last year, thinking that this new season, I never would have thought I would have seen that coming from them. After the loss of Tracy, and you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Like I said, I was surprised. I was
Mm-hmm.
really surprised. And For me, I used to think that the only thing that could make me not talk to my sister is if she does one devilish thing. Something that will make me not talk to my brother is if one, like, you commit is a crime,
Mm-hmm.
you do something very, like, I'm just even thinking about the kind of thing you can do that will make me be like, you know what, I don't want to even stay in the same room with you. Right.
Right.
So I just feel like at this point, I understand Taylor's mouth is as sharp, as wide as she says what she wants to say. Maybe it's that last born thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I feel like Towanda is feeling embarrassed, which she's entitled to feel. There's nobody on
Right.
this earth that would get those words being said to them that wouldn't feel embarrassed. And in front of the cameras,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's an embarrassing thing, and so I understand. But I feel like if she would apologize, that's Tamar, I think that they should go forward, because at the end of the day, they are the only ones they have. Nobody's gonna love them than, like, an outsider will not love them the way they love themselves.
True.
I don't know whether you understand what I mean. No outsider will love them than the way they love themselves. Like, no outsider will love Tamar the way
Her
Toni
sisters are
loves
gonna
her.
love her. Exactly.
Exactly. Absolutely nobody is going to love them than the way they love themselves.
True.
At the end of the day, they got to trust themselves, because when the world is about to crash down, those are the people that will have your back.
Yeah.
Those are the people that will be there for you.
Exactly.
So for me, I just feel like, mm, they should just, like, assist us. Like, Toni is trying to, like, tell them that they need to sit down and have a conversation. I hope that they do that, but I don't think I will see that happening. Do you think that that's gonna ever happen?
Um, I don't really see them coming to any kind of understanding, simply because I say this because, I believe Tamar just took it a little bit too far, you know? I mean, some things as a family you can't really get over, you know?
Yeah.
And that might happen to be one of them.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, it's true. You can't actually get over you being embarrassed by a family member,
Right.
especially in public. It's one hard thing to get over. So I do understand her. I do understand her, but I just feel like, you know what? We would always want to talk because we're not in that situation.
Right.
But I believe that if we might be in that situation, I might also react the same way she's reacting.
Right.
So, ah, anyways, I hope it works out for her.
Yeah, I hope they can get that sisterhood back together again, but it's
Mm-hmm.
going to take a lot of work. It is because feelings were hurt and things were said and things were done, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, once it comes out of your mouth, sometimes it's just a little bit too late.
yeah. And I don't think they ever have this thing that when, as siblings, when they are talking to themselves, take a moment to be like, I think I have this thing that when I'm talking with my siblings, no matter how pissed off I am, I tend to always think before I say something, because words cannot be easy. It's hard to take words back.
Right.
Once it's out there, it's out there. I always try not to, like, I try to control myself to be careful of the words I say. And I think that they really do not have that. They just say what's on their mind.
Right.
So I just hope that hopefully they can do that. They can do that and try it. I want to see how it's gonna. I want to see how it's gonna pan out. You know,
Mhm.
I want to see how it's gonna pan out because we could see that we don't know whether Tamar is gonna be at the wedding. Hopefully, I hope that she would come. Will you be surprised if she didn't come to if she wasn't invited to the wedding?
Um, yeah, I would be surprised if she showed up. I would, you know. Um, I just kind of feel, I don't know, I guess saddened for the fact that, like, I'm thinking, like, would they had done any of that in front of their mother? If their mother was there, would this have been a totally different scenario? You know,
Mm,
I mean, because they seem to respect their mom, you know, but would any of this have played out any different though?
mm. Well, you know what? Nobody can say.
True.
Absolutely nobody can say. I think at the end of the day, it's individually. It's something as individuals themselves. Is Tamar ready to like bow down and like sometimes just keep quiet and don't not wanting to overshout the other person? Is Towanda ready to be level-headed and understand what Tamar is trying to say? Is Trina wanting, able to listen and understand? Is Toni, at the end of the day, is them individually,
Right.
from their individual, breakthrough, now be like, okay, yeah, this is where we're going to from now. So I just feel like they on themselves have to, as individuals, have to work on themselves before any other thing. Well, I just hope it goes well. We'll be back same time next week here for another, episode of the Braxtons. Make sure you join. Make sure you like and comment your total opinion. Make sure you click on the subscription button down below to subscribe. We'll see you guys same time next week. Have a nice day, guys. Bye.
Bye.